Did you think Donald Trump's bombing of Syria would start World War III?
No, I believe President Trump has been setting traps for the remaining deep state agents embedded in the administrative branch, and I believe virtually everything he does conforms to a plan that he has for restoring the U.S. Republic by doing just that.
How could that be achieved by bombing Syria?
I believe he indicates he's going to make what might be perceived as a mistake, then watches to see how his enemies will try to capitalize on those potential mistakes. I've heard rumors that the target in Syria was pre-approved by Russia, and the administration knew there wouldn't be a counterattack. President Trump may have set the whole thing up in order to kill as many birds with one stone. After all, the chemical attack occurred only after the president said he planned to withdraw troops. This may have been flushing out the evildoers.
That would infer that the president was, in a measure, practicing deception. Have you seen the Q post stating that, quote, "We don't inform our enemies of the specifics. We instead instill fear in them to make unplanned and disastrous countermoves," close quotes.
I have. That is precisely the sort of behavior to which I am referring.
Do you find a lack of integrity in that approach?
In what way do you mean?
Q essentially stated, and you are affirming, that the president and his team might intentionally mislead their enemies to provoke them to make strategic mistakes.
I never lie.
Of course you don't, Sebastian. You're a good boy.
Huff.
Well, you do practice deception, though, Sebastian. It's deceptive to try to sneak up on ducks.
Trying to fool one's enemies is strategically sound.
I understand, but do you perceive a lack of integrity in that approach? Those who so do are, after all, practicing deception.
Strictly speaking, King David practiced deception several times. God did not correct him. The deception was necessary in order to save King David's life, or to carry out his plans. I believe President Trump is practicing being as wise as a serpent and as innocent as a dove. He's doing what he's doing in order to avoid war and promote and protect American interests.
How do you suppose a man like King David or President Trump can behave in a deceptive manner without creating an internal conflict?
Are you aware of the Ennegram personality typing system?
The 9-type system, based around 3 types each, under the mind, the will, and the emotions?
Yes, I believe President Trump is an Enneagram 3, which is a type that can employ this strategy without creating an internal conflict.
The type 3 is the achiever? Let me see. If I remember correctly, the achiever is a heart type. How would an achiever employ emotional resources in a way that would facilitate this strategy of tricking one's enemies?
The achiever is often expert in the fake it till you make it strategy. Achievers don't feel obligated to tell everyone what they are really thinking or planning.
Do you see an issue there with integrity?
I think it's important to remember with whom he is dealing.
The globalists?
Precisely. In understanding Trump's strategy and his need for subtlety, it's crucial to remember he is dealing with some of the most duplicitous, unscrupulous people the world has ever known.
So, is it your opinion that President Trump's Enneagram type, type 3, enhances his ability to overcome his enemies because type 3 is able to convincingly lie?
Lie is probably not the most descriptive word for his strategy, since it's a very complex strategy, but yes, achievers are so goal-oriented that they will find a way to achieve their goals. Here's what Michael Goldberg wrote about achievers in his book, The 9 Ways of Working. Threes think of themselves as principled, but because they are so focused on ends over means, their guiding principle tends to be pragmatism, and their ethics are situational.
So the implication is that with the goal of bringing deceptive criminals to justice, the pragmatism of the achiever helps President Trump keep the process on track.
Certainly, being somewhat comfortable with situational ethics can also be of help when dealing with the global elite, who are accustomed to maintaining their power by any means necessary.
Are you referring to ignoring the constitutional guarantee of attorney-client privilege that was recently infringed upon when President Trump's attorney's office was broken into?
Well, that plus many other things. Remember, the many crimes of Barry Soetoro and of the Clintons, including, but not limited to, the Clinton death list.
I do, yes. I can see how a touch of unrelenting pursuit of goals could be an advantage in dealing with such people. Sebastian, what is it? Are the ducks back?
Go get 'em, boy. Quietly. Quietly.